What's up, y'all? It is April 22nd. I had actually recorded this update for number 11 settlement yesterday, and I ended up kind of going on there at the end. And I looked at the time, and it's like nobody's going to want to hear me drone it for this long, so I'm doing it all again for you. Okay, once again, I ended up with a 4-day week. Monday of that week, I did virtually nothing. I didn't have a whole lot going on, but the previous Friday, I was supposed to drop a container at a drop yard, and whenever I got there, they had closed early. So Monday was going to our drop yard, picking up that empty container and taking it to where it needed to go, and that was it. Well, after I did that, then I went and I got my load, or my empty container, for the following day. Tuesday I run a slightly longer run, about 300 or so miles. Wednesday I did a local Fort Worth. I got I was sorry, I'm trying to decide which thought to say first. So they had pre-planned me for Friday. Whenever it came along to get a Thursday load, they said, hey, look, we don't really have anything going on. We'll let you know if things change. It didn't. But they did let me know on Thursday, hey, your Friday load has been rescheduled to Saturday. So I ended up being off Thursday and Friday, then working Saturday with a long run. So it wasn't great. Two step forward and one step back, and sometimes people say one step forward and two steps back. And this was definitely a step back. I'm not complaining. I'm still kind of keeping a little bit of consistency. But here we go. So for those 4 days, they have it listed as 1,088 paid miles. Their pay is a mileage base, but they do it kind of weird. You know, they do it in blocks of miles, 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, so on and so forth. And those blocks pay a specific amount until you get 131 one direction miles, and then they pay a mileage. And of course, everything has a fuel surcharge on top of whatever the pay is, whether it's mileage or block pay or however it is. Excuse me. I did have an inconsistency with the mileage, and what I think happened was they threw a couple extra deadhead or bobtail miles legs on me, and I think that messed up the numbers, because whenever I go into them, you'll see where it's messed up. So 1,088 is what they had on paid miles, which is a gross of 2194.40, which is 202 a mile. Now my real miles, what I track, is my little notebook right here, was 1568. Hopefully that's not too much noise with them. Delivering it as Southeastern, so a lot of activity. 202 a mile, 1568 total miles. Now whenever you break down that 2194.40 by the 1568 actual, that works out to $1.40 a mile for all miles. Now my outer route ends up being 480, and this is where the inconsistency in the miles come from. My actual bobtail miles to or from home was 725. I came up with a calculation that I figured is close enough. You know, I might be getting 10, 11, maybe even higher net bobtailing mile per gallon, but I'm calculating it at 725 bobtail miles at, I think I've calculated 350 or 360 a mile, come up to like $280. So that's additional fuel expense that I wouldn't have if I lived in the Metroplex instead of an hour outside. And I've said before in another video, as of right now, we're real busy at the NSF, which is north of Fort Worth, and I live east of Dallas, so it's 100-mile bobtail. My expenses, I've put about $780 in fuel, and then my bobtail, 50 a week going into my escrow, and my occupational accident insurance. Those three things come up to $97.50. So after I deduct all that, my net settlement is $1,317.83. If you remember last week, I was over $1,600, and then this week I went back down. My last week average of 10 settlements was $1,378. With this other smaller settlement, it takes my average down to $1,372. My overall gross for the 11 weeks is $15,098. And then if you take that $1,317, if I lived inside the Metroplex area, it would have brought my net settlement up close to $1,600 if I hadn't paid that extra fuel. Or, you know, if somebody was kind of centralized or, you know, off one direction or another in the Metroplex, away from the rail yard, you know, they might have like half of that fuel expense, which would put them around $1,450, $1,475, give or take a few bucks. And like I said, 4 days kind of got the shaft a little bit. I think transitioning from the first quarter to the second quarter, there's always a little bit of a slump. And given that, you know, we're coming out of freight recession and everything, that is kind of affecting things. Now there's something else that I'm going to do to attempt to achieve my goal of the $2,500 week. You know, that is the goal that I'm pushing for. My main thing right now, I've stated before, I want to average 1,800 plus. And realistically, if I could get to where I'm averaging 2,000 plus, that would be great, as long as I'm not trading all my time with my family. But the goal is to prove that I can hit that 2,500. And one of the ways that I will probably get there, you know, it's all the little things. And right now I'm using the company's data card, and I get little or no discount. Primarily I shop at or get my diesel at the mom and pop shops or the small chains like Quick Trip, Sefco, Circle K, Petroleum Warehouse, or no, Petroleum Wholesale. I very rarely go to them, but occasionally. every now and then I'll go to 1.9 there in the Pilot network, but their prices compete with these smaller chains. So, they're lower priced than if you went to Pilot. And then I get like 6 cents a gallon off from them, which, part of the time it'll give me a better price than, for instance, Quick Trip, and part of the time it won't. In the last few days or week or so, I've actually been getting a small discount from TA, probably about 15 or 20 cents. But I started looking at my Mudflap app, which I have, and you have a couple options with them. You can do the app where you get the code and they directly charge your bank account, or you can get a Mudflap card. Now, I've never used Mudflap. I've had it, I've kept it in my back pocket, but never really pulled the trigger on using it, because about the time I was looking at the app, I had changed over to the other company, and we had a NASTC fuel card. If you don't know what NASTC is, it's the National Association of Small Trucking Companies. And it's an organization, and they have a couple fuel card options, and probably that's where I'll end up. They actually gave a better discount than Mudflap, which is why I never attempted the Mudflap. And I was never really all that impressed with the discounts of Mudflap until the last week or so. And sorry, I thought I saw somebody waving at me from the dock. But anyway, so until the last week or so, whenever I was checking again, and like I paid $3.57 a gallon at TA this morning. That was the best price without going out of route. There was one location that was like $3.30, but I would have had to gone a bit of a ways out of route to get that fuel. So $3.57, but on the Mudflap app, there was fuel at $3.19, $3.23, $3.27, and it really, kind of aggravated me to use my fuel card. But what I ended up finding whenever I went to go ahead and register a card on with the Mudflap app, I was going to use one of my credit cards, and there's like a 1.9% fee, and I had done the math, and it ends up adding back like 6 or 8 cents a gallon, something like that. I know whenever I checked the prices from Comdata and versus prices from Mudflap, by the time I got hit with the fee, it was only like a penny difference. And so I figured, I'll just go ahead and stick with Comdata. Well, now that the discount is getting bigger, so it would make sense, but I don't really want to go that route. I don't want to take the chance of ending up maxing out a credit card and dealing with all the garbage that goes along with it, the extra fees, things like that. I'd rather go ahead and get money built up in my business account to where I can link that account, and at that point I get rid of that fee. I don't have that 1.9% fee, and I don't run the risk of overextending a credit card. Give me a comment if you want. Hopefully this is helping somebody. And don't take my experience to be every experience, because things just happen, and different companies have different clients, different pay scales, different areas of operation. I'm just giving you one. So keep looking, and it's a little bit difficult with owner operators and containers that are leased under companies. It's kind of hard to find that information, but it is out there if you look hard enough. And the broader information you get from a variety of different guys will give you a little bit more clear idea. But I hope that'll help y'all, and y'all have a safe week.